Dawes looked reflective. "You wouldn't be thinking about writing us up or anything? I mean, this is a pretty private affair." "Writing it up?" Sol blinked. "I hadn't thought of it, but you'll have to admit it's sure interesting." "Yeah," Dawes said narrowly. "I guess it would be." "Supper," Mom called. After the meal they spent a quiet evening at home. Sally went to bed screaming her reluctance at 8:30. Mom, dozing in the big chair near the fireplace, padded upstairs at 9. Then Dawes yawned widely and stood up and said goodnight at 9:15. He paused in the doorway before leaving. "I'd think about that," he said. "Writing it up, I mean. A lot of folks would think you were just plumb crazy." Sol laughed feebly. I guess they would at that. "Good night," Dawes said. "Good night." He read Sally's copy of Treasure Island for about half an hour. Then he undressed, made himself comfortable on the sofa, snuggled under the soft blanket that Mom had provided, and shut his eyes. He reviewed the events of the day before dropping off to sleep. The troublesome Sally, the strange dream world of Armagon, the visit to the barber shop, the removal of Brundage's body, the conversations with the townspeople, Dawes's suspicious attitude. Then sleep came. He was flanked by marble pillars thrusting toward a high domed ceiling. The room stretched long and wide before him, the walls bedecked in stunning purple draperies. He whirled at the sound of footsteps echoing stridently on the stone floor. Someone was running towards him. It was Sally, pigtails streaming out behind her, the small body wearing a flowing white toga. She was shrieking, laughing as she skittered past him, clutching a gleaming gold helmet. He called out to her, but she was too busy outdistancing her pursuer. It was Sheriff Coogan, puffing and huffing, the metal and gold cloth uniform ludicrous on his lanky frame. "Consarn kid," he wheezed. "Gimme my hat." Mom was following him, her stout body regal in scarlet robes. "Sally, you give Mr. Coogan his helmet, you hear?" "Mrs. Dawes," Sol said. "Why, Mr. Becker, how nice to see you again. Pa, look who's here." Willie Dawes appeared. No, Sol thought. This was King Dawes. Nothing else could explain the magnificence of his attire. "Yes," Dawes said craftily. "So I see. Welcome to Armagon, Mr. Becker." "Armagon?" Sol gaped. "Then this is the place you've been dreaming about?" "Yup," the King said. "And now you're in it, too." "Then I'm only dreaming?" Charlie, the fat man, clumsy as ever in his robes of state, said, "So that's the snooper, eh?" "Yup," Dawes chuckled. "Think you better round up the knights." Sol said, "The knights?" "Exelution! Exelution!" Sally shrieked. "Now wait a minute!" Charlie shouted. Running feet, clanging of armor. Sol backed up against a pillar. "Now look here, you've gone far enough." "Not quite," said the King. The knights stepped forward. "Wait!" Sol screamed. Familiar faces under shining helmets moved towards him, the tips of sharp-pointed spears gleaming wickedly. And Sol Becker wondered, would he ever wake up? End of Dreamtown by Henry Sleesar.